My friends, there's quite a bit of musical content in today's vlog, but there's also a lot of randomness. In fact, there might be more random things going on in this vlog than ever before. For all of that, stay tuned right after this. Hello my friends, Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. Today is Tuesday, October 4th, which means we'll be playing this evening at Dickey's Barbecue in Rolla, Missouri. We start around 6 and go to around 8:30. So if you are able to make it, please come by and say hi. We would love it. And be sure to introduce yourself if you haven't been there before. We love to meet you. I think we'll have most of the crew there tonight, and we might even have a surprise guest or two. You just never know. Either way, it'll be fun. Well, my first bit of musical stuff is that I made some good progress on the little silver tone mandolin yesterday. Yeah, I got it apart, got the neck out of it. By the way, this part of the neck is pretty dang flat. In fact, I can see maybe just a few thousandths of an underbow. You know, not enough to care about, so this is pretty darn flat. This was where all the curve was coming from. It was kind of like that. And I just pulled the fret and sawed it off there because this is a cheap instrument, and by far this is the best way to go on a cheap instrument. Saved all kinds of time. In fact, to get to this point only took me about 40 minutes total. And that's including fixing a bunch of things already. There's things I fixed here that you can't really see that you'll see in the future video. And I also started plugging this hole. I wanted to plug it, start with it yesterday so that the filler had time to really dry overnight. But anyway, this is going to be a fairly quick fix for me, I think. At least I hope so. I hope I didn't just jinx it. The next musical bit is that we had visitors from Salt Lake City, Utah yesterday. Well, anyway, one of them's from there. The other one's from as close to Utah as you can get, but they're in Wyoming, I believe. Anyway, they came together. I think they were actually on a tour. They went all the way to North Carolina, I believe, to a bluegrass festival, and then they swung back by here to have me put a antler saddle on his mandolin. And I have a clip of that, so here it is right now. Hello my friends, Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. We've got a little project that was brought here by Tim Morrison from Salt Lake City, Utah. And we have a Summit mandolin. It's a very pretty mandolin. Look at the back, it's really a pretty back. Some people ask what this is. This is just kind of a standoff. It keeps the back from laying against your body and lets the back vibrate a little bit more. And you have anything to add about that? Is that pretty much the way you see it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. It's a good mandolin.
Yeah, it is a nice mandolin. Very nice mandolin. It's got a good sound to it. I think he's here to have a deer antler saddle put on it. I do think the antler saddle will probably make this a little bit louder. Probably make it even a little bit more clarity of tone. You'd be surprised. It does a nice job on that. It's a very nice mandolin. So we'll show you an after I put the saddle on here. Well, my friends, we've got the antler saddle on this thing, and I believe I have it intonated real well. It sounds really good to me, to my ear. It's got a nice... It's still got it retained the woody sound, and if anything, it clarified it a little more and maybe increased the volume a little bit more too. So I really like it. What do you think?
I'm totally happy.
Well, good.
Great job. Thank you.
Good. That should do it. It looks like everything's just right to me. Look at the action here. We got the action way down. You can see it's holding the pick there at the 12th fret. No problem at all. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for taking a look. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip of the visitor. That was Tim Morrison from Salt Lake City, Utah. And that was a really nice little summit mandolin there. I think that's a really fine little mandolin, and I think the antler improved it. I know Tim really was happy with it. We went out to dinner with Tim and his buddy. I think his buddy's name is Dan, and my wife and I went, and we went to Emo's Pizza here in Rolla. Now, Emo's is I think a small chain, and I think it's mostly just in Missouri. You know, if I'm wrong on that, you can correct it in the comments. But as far as I know, I think it's only in Missouri. But they have the best thin crust pizza. Now, keep in mind, I don't eat much that I can taste, but I can get them to put very light sauce on there, so that helps a little bit. And then I can get them to put just hamburger and bacon on there. And so it's like hamburger and bacon on a cracker for me. That's what my wife says. So it's perfect for me. I love their pizza. And of course, everybody else seemed to really like it too. Now we're going to go into some more just random stuff. I'm like a kid at Christmas time, and I'm not kidding you. I just got this new coil for the end of my metal detector. This is an Equinox 800 metal detector. And I got this new little tiny coil. See, my hand's bigger than the coil. Of course, my hand's bigger than a whole lot of things. But this is a 6-inch coil. The original coil is much bigger, as you can see, just side by side. Now, why did I want the small coil, and why does that get me excited? Well, when I try to metal detect here on the farm, especially in the high population areas, you know, around the buildings and around, you know, just the sidewalks and things that are here, you know, it's littered with trash, just littered. I mean, it's so much trash that this big coil, you just move it this much and you're hitting something all the time. And often you're hitting 2 or 3 signals at once, and this cannot discern those 2 or 3 signals very well. I mean, it does pretty good, but with this giant coil, you can't pinpoint as easily. This little sucker will be in between a lot of those signals. That's what you use these small coils for, is in really high trash areas. Now, they don't go quite as deep, but depth doesn't seem to be a real problem. The Equinox is a pretty deep detector anyway, and I don't think I'm going to be suffering too much on the depth. So anyway, I'm happy to try this thing out, and I'll be trying this out today, I can guarantee you. I'll give that a shot, and hopefully that's going to work for me. I also have some more random video clips that I want to show you, and I'll just let them speak for themselves right now. I'm back here at the pond, and I was walking around throwing out some feed and looking to see if I see any dead fish, meaning the ones that we put in yesterday. And so far I don't see a single dead fish, so I would say it went pretty well. I thought the interesting thing here today is all the minnows. You might think those are tadpoles in there because they're all just kind of stopped sitting still, but they're little tiny fish minnows. And when I go up there, can you see them start to swim? There's just gazillions of them. And they all swim to safety. Can you see them all? They're all fish. That's not tadpoles. Crazy. And they swim out into that stuff. I can see them swimming around out there in that stuff out there now. And then when I leave here, they come back to this little shallow pool. I think that's their safe place. Look at all the deer tracks that are in this too. And there's coon tracks and everything here. You can see all the tracks. That just shows, you know, when you get a pond like this, how quick the wildlife start using it. I can't wait till maybe the ducks and geese move in next spring is what I'm expecting. It's not a huge pond, so it'll only support a pair or maybe 2 pair of ducks or something, or geese, and that would be plenty. But it'd be kind of cool to see them out here. Found on the other end of the pond, you can see the same phenomenon. All the little tiny minnows are congregated right here. Just hundreds of them. Don't know if you can see them or not. Just a little further around, and really I saw this everywhere, but this was just a good place to film it. You can see all the deer tracks out in the water. They're just everywhere. And I saw that all the way through here too, all the way along the bank. But right here you can see them pretty clear with the sun and everything. The way angle, you can see them better. But they're just everywhere. And this pond's only been here a few weeks now. So it's pretty amazing how quickly the wildlife take advantage of it. Back a little further than the pond now, a little further back toward the end of the property. The property line still goes probably another quarter mile that way. But look at this damage. Now that wasn't there, I don't think, yesterday. So that's from a hog. That's just, it looks like just one hog rooting up. But trust me, that you get a bunch of hogs out in your field and they do this, and they just tear up a whole, they can tear up a whole acre in one night, no problem at all. And you can't even drive through it, it's so rough. So they definitely were in here. I would say it was just one hog by the looks of this. I don't know if you can see, there's the dump truck right there, and that's where the creek straightening project is going on. We're just a little this side of it. And if you can look through the trees here, and I don't know if you can see it or not because the sun's at the wrong angle, but pretty much right at the base of that big tree right there, there's a hole in the ground. I think you can sort of see it. Maybe I can, there we go. I didn't know I could zoom in with this camera, but yeah, you can sort of see it there. Behind those weeds, there's a hole, and that's a cave. It doesn't go very far back, but that's the first cave I discovered on the property. That one doesn't go very far because the ceiling is really weak and it keeps caving in, but you can tell it does go down and go back in there somewhere. I'm a little afraid of that cave. Now just over here a little bit further, this is the big cave that I discovered. And I say big, it's not big by cave standards. It's big by this farm in that it's much bigger cave than that first one. And you can see there's the entrance to that cave, and here's the creek that, you know, the water is running out. And I've told this story before, but I was way up on this hill quite a ways up there during the winter, and none of these leaves were on, and you could see a long way down here. And right about here in the dirt, or in the leaves and things on the top, I could see a big round sinkhole. And it was just a funnel, and there was no actual hole, it was just a funnel. And I knew that funnel meant there was some kind of a void under it. And so I came down here in the creek, and now keep in mind, all of this was covered by a lot of dirt, and also covered by a giant boulder that's right down there. That big boulder was kind of over the hole, and there was just tons of dirt. And I mean lots of dirt. It's really hard to explain how much. But there was a sinkhole here, and then I started noticing right here, I was watching a spring bubbling up. And the spring doesn't bubble up here now because I opened this up, and the spring runs out of that cave now. But anyway, when I saw the spring, I saw the sinkhole, I knew there had to be a cave right here somewhere. So I went back and got my bobcat, started digging, and sure enough, that's what I found. And it goes back in, oh, you can go back in there 50 feet at least, maybe a little further, and then it's all silted in and you can't go any further. The cavers that came out here and explored it think it could be a very huge cave. They really do think it could be a massive cave, but we can't go any further because of the silting. And you know, if I was younger, in my 30s, I guarantee you we'd be back in there because I would spend all day digging it out. But with the arthritis as bad as it is now, and I only discovered this about 15 years ago,
And the arthritis was already setting in at that time pretty bad, and I just couldn't handle it. So I know I couldn't handle it now. But it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool cave. So if there's any young whippersnappers out there that really know how to work and you want to come here and dig it out, feel free. But trust me, it's way harder than it sounds. Way harder. You can't even imagine how hard it is. This trailer hitch is something I fixed on my wife's horse trailer. We just had this thing painted, by the way, and I'm really disappointed in the paint job. He charged a lot of money, and it looks like it was painted with house paint, in my opinion. It's just pitiful. Suppose he came recommended, so this is why I almost never have anybody do anything. Very disappointing. Anyway, this part was broken right here. This metal, this all was missing. And what that does is that releases the, you can see there how it pulls that back, and that releases this catch here for the trailer hitch. When you push that in, that locks the trailer onto the ball. And then to unlock it, you just lift this up. Well, this piece was missing, so it was difficult to unlock the ball. But anyway, it was just one of the first little things I fixed on the way to getting this thing back on the road.
Well, I hope you liked all that randomness. There's going to be some hog hunting in my future. You can bet on that. And you know, that cave, I don't know why I like that cave so much. It's real close to where I found all the Native American artifacts. I have a feeling they knew about the cave probably back then, but it's so silted in we can't really see any evidence that they were ever in there. And it's possible they didn't know about it, but I still think they probably did, because they were pretty smart people. And so I would love to have that dug out. You know, from a psychological standpoint, you're not going to believe this part. I use that cave almost every night as a trigger. And you're going, what? What is he talking about? I use that to help me fall asleep. I start just thinking about the cave, and it's just something I do as a routine, because I'm basically an insomniac. I basically don't sleep. And so I just think about the cave and just try to clear my mind of all the thoughts and just think about the cave. And it just seems kind of a stupid thing to do, but it also helps me clear all the weird thoughts in my head that, you know, bug me to keep me from sleeping. You know, like all the work I have to do, all the problems that are here on the farm. It keeps me from thinking about that. So I use it kind of as a trigger to fall asleep, believe it or not. I didn't really need to share that with you, but I just thought I'd throw that out there in case it might help someone else. If you can think about one little thing, something that has no stress attached to it, you know, then it can help you fall asleep. And it does help me. It really does. At the end of the last shop talk, which was last Friday, there were quite a few questions that had not been answered yet. I have those questions written down here. Before I turned the shop talk off, I quickly wrote them down, and I will cover them in this week's shop talk. Which brings me to the point that this week's shop talk is going to be Thursday. So Thursday morning, day after tomorrow, we'll have our shop talk at the normal time, 8 o'clock. I'm sorry to have to change it on you, but we are going to be leaving Friday morning very early to head to Ohio to see our grandsons out there and watch them play some football. They're so excited for us to come and see them play their football games. So we're looking forward to that little trip. So therefore, I need to move the shop talk up to Thursday. So this coming Thursday, day after tomorrow, 8 a.m., we'll have our shop talk, and I will answer these questions and many more. And you can even start putting your questions in today's vlog if you want to, if you have something you want me to discuss on Thursday's shop talk. And referring back to those clips again, you know, you notice the horse trailer there, and I was very disappointed with the paint job. That's one of the reasons why I almost never pay anybody to do anything. I am almost always disappointed with the quality of the work, especially around here. You know, I don't mean to pick on the area, but honestly, it's hard to find skilled people in this general area. And actually, he's not really in our area. We had to drive a couple hours to get to him. He was recommended by someone, you know, he had painted someone else's trailer. Now, there's a lot of body work that could have been done on that trailer, and I had planned to do it. And I said to him, I said, you want me to do that body work, put some filler in there and smooth it out and sand it? No, I'll do all that. He didn't do any of that. Charged us big bucks, and I'm not lying to you, it looks like he painted it with house paint, and it's pitiful. It's the worst paint job I've ever seen in my life. I wished I hadn't even taken it there, not because of the money, because, that was a lot of money for the quality job we got. Very bad. I really can't even say enough about it. But in terms of the other video clips, you could tell things are going well with the pond, and the wildlife is just eating it up, So we're real happy about all that. It's going to look real nice once the grass seed starts growing around there. It's starting to come up a little bit, but we haven't had much rain either, so we need some rain to get that grass to sprout. That's going to be about it for today. Remember, Shop Talk will be Thursday this time, so be sure to put that on your calendar or on your iPad to notify you or whatever it takes, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and we will still see you tomorrow also for another vlog.